Welcome to Stokastic's MLB DFS Live Before Lock. I'm your host, Neil Orfield. You can find me on Twitter at PlayerQDFS. I'm here with Eric Lindquist. You can find him on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. And the show is sponsored by Drafters, which has everything you could need: head-to-head live drafts, snake drafts, season-long, all-new Pick'em feature. We'll talk about the Pick'em feature a little bit more on Drafters. I didn't even know they had it until today, so that's pretty exciting. We also have a 100% first deposit match bonus up to $100 on Drafters if you click the link in the description of this video. I don't know if Jordan has a link, but if Jordan has a link, you should throw it into chat. He might not have that yet, but he's making faces. I don't know what
he's got a link
to me.
Yeah, he's being all kinds of sassy starting off the
Man,
show.
he's such a sassy guy. Eric, it's so good to be doing a show with you. You and I have done shows here and there recently, but we haven't really been on any regular shows that often. So it's good to be doing a show with you. How's your day going?
I was gonna say it's going well. We're getting ready to rock. I mean, I kind of like a condensed MLB slate. It makes it fun trying out the all of the great things that we have over here. I'm kind of incorporating some lineup generator. I'm incorporating some MLB sims. I'm doing a lot of things over on this end. Having a blast with it. Good to be in the MLB DFS streets officially here for the time being. NBA, I don't know. There's really only 3 games going up there. So it's going to be, I think, some consistent you and me here on MLB DFS going forward.
Are we really gonna? I had no idea. I thought
so.
This might just be Josh being out. Excited to be doing some shows with Lindy once again. I just saw you got some a nice compliment on Twitter today about your Lindy's likes, leans, and locks. That seems to have been going well for you, giving out the goods every day. I know you put in a lot of work on that. So excited to have you back on the DFS channel a little bit more as well. Always good to be doing shows with you.
Thanks, bud.
Have you? Are you ready to break down this 7-game slate?
I'm ready to go. Yeah, I got some bets in. I'm ready to. This is kind of an interesting pitching slate. I can tell you that much. This is going to be a hold your nose and play some dudes in the pitcher slot today.
SMP says Eric looks too happy. Bully him so he feels more at home. Neil, that's true. You probably don't feel at home with me, but Eric, I'm like a reminder of Eric's past because he comes from the Midwest. He's used to Midwesterners like me. So his recent history, he's maybe feels a little bit more at home with Greg. But yeah, and on Eric. On Friday, you and I have both been victimized by Greg. Greg gaslit me into admitting that I'm like the worst softball player on my team. After I was like, oh, I had a pretty good game. We lost. There were some errors. Greg just gaslit me for like 10 minutes straight until I admitted that I was the worst softball player on my team. So
why is Greg the way that he
Greg
is?
Ehrenberg victims. I'm me and Eric are going to team up together. We're going to bully Greg one day, but probably not this week. We'll wait till he recovers a little bit from his.
It's hard to bully on somebody who's like 5'3", 95 pounds. I would prefer to just I'd prefer to just, I don't know, mildly degrade him. It's a nicer way to do things, but I love my Gregory. That's the Stockholm syndrome in me.
Yeah. Jordan has put Neil gave up 17 runs and hit a single. That is all true. I take that as a compliment for recognizing my single. Thank you, Jordan. All right. We have 7 games on this slate, Eric. We will start with the first game of the slate, which is Colorado at Boston. We have Connor Siebold on the mound for the Rockies, James Paxton for the Red Sox. Do you have any interest in either of these pitchers?
I mean, right off the bat, obviously, I have a lot of James Paxton interest, and it's going to come down to me running some sims here and kind of seeing what is being spit out. I'm kind of finishing up a couple of iterations of lineups. We're still waiting on the Tampa Bay lineup, which is going to be a big part of what I'm doing today, too, I'm sure. But James Paxton, he's the highest known pitcher on this slate, and with a 33% K rate, it completely makes sense to me. A 225 expected batting average. He is giving up 42.2% hard hit percentage, but a lot of the big right-handed boppers are not in this lineup, that being Chris Bryant and CJ Crone. They continue to be on the IL. So Elias Diaz, really your righty power that you're trying to avoid. Ezekiel Tabar, he's been moved up in the lineup. I know he went yard yesterday, but with just a 33.1% hard hit percentage, I mean, him, Jurix, and Profar, these are not hard-hitting righties. Basically, get by the Diaz, Grichuk side of things, and there's not a whole lot at the bottom half of this lineup. Coco Montes is I'm not all that familiar with. He just gotten called up here, the 26-year-old. This is his first stint ever into the bigs, but looking at AAA numbers, I'm not all that gung-ho about it. I just feel like James Paxton is and should be the highest owned pitcher today.
Yep. I mean, as you said, he is expected to be the highest owned pitcher, and with good reason against this Colorado team. I mean, going to Fenway, it's not much of a downgrade for the bats, but it is a downgrade. Anywhere is a downgrade from Coors for the bats. So it's a little bit easier to face the Rockies in Fenway as opposed to in Coors Field as well. So a little bit
Mhm.
thing there. By the way, I didn't even prep you. So what we've been doing on these shows when I host is we'll go through the pitchers for the game, the bats for the game, and then I'm going to ask you to rank the four sides of the game. So each team's bats and the two pitchers, you're going to go through and rank them for me at the end, just because there's a little bit of
Okay.
nuance sometimes in our
Okay.
discussion. Maybe it just like makes it a little bit easier for people to digest if you do a little ranking at the end. So
Okay.
we got through the pitchers. What's your level of interest in the bats in this game?
So yeah, I mean, it's Connor Siebold, just to kind of round it all together. It's a tough spot to envision me just looking at the top pitchers tool, envisioning what my lineup should be looking like. I'm not going to probably get to any of him when it's all said and done. I know he's got positive leverage. I know his top two value score is there, where it's decent enough, but you look at this Red Sox lineup, 103 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. There's no strikeout upside, and I just would rather take almost every other mid and low priced pitcher on this slate before I got to any Connor Siebold against Boston. So Boston is definitely a team that I think you can be firing up and beginning to some of. They're not coming in underlooked, that's for sure, but they got the highest top stack score in our top stacks tool as well. You're looking at top value percentage. There are some value bats amongst some of the more expensive bats. I like the lefty power that we're seeing from everybody there. As far as Colorado goes, you could always take shots against the most popular pitcher on any given slate, and it's probably a positive EV move. It's just simply, is it a positive EV move before you go bust? And for me today, I'm going to be getting to a little bit of Colorado, it would seem, as I'm going through some of the pre-contest simulator stuff, but doesn't look like they're going to be any kind of a massive part of the portfolio. Like it seems like Oakland on some of these slates has been an undervalued team. I don't really find that this offense, to be all that five stack friendly, if you will.
Okay. So we got a question from Dirty Hippie. How's the weather look for Paxton? That's a really good question. So we had last week sometime, I don't remember what the slate was, but weather Greg came in and tried to like look at the forecast and tell me what was going to happen with the weather. And he told me a game was safe, and I played the game, and that game got postponed. Eric, do you fashion yourself a weather guy at all? Are you able to read these
I'm
things?
not going to be as pretend confident as our friend Greg Ehrenberg when it comes to that stuff, because I always try to leave it a little bit open-ended, because I don't want to say I'm pretty positive it's going to play, even though that might be the way that I feel. If there is any kind of a weather risk, I will at least say that much. That being said, what are we really kind of contemplating here? I think it should be decent, fairly healthy showers, whatever that means. I mean, we're all looking at the same spot for a lot of that stuff. And I don't really find it to be, unless I am told otherwise within the next hour, I don't find it to be something you should be factoring in that much.
Okay. I thought it was worth asking, just because he is going to be what, like 50, I haven't looked, 55.
Oh yeah, he is the most popular pitcher on DraftKings. Looking at FanDuel, I mean, that's probably where you could probably have more of the James Paxton ownership conversation. One pitcher site, he's going off for K rate, but there's at least, I think, a case to be made for a Zach Eflin, where he's flat leverage. Logan Webb, a pitcher that I always seem to be getting over the field on these last couple slates. I know he's getting more expensive, but K rate's better than what I think than what most people would expect it to be. I know we're paying a pretty hefty price on FanDuel at 10.6 for him there, but I like getting to both of them on a site where it values a quality start, it values a win. And then James Paxton, again, just pulling 35.1% ownership over there. Over a third of the lineup's getting there. I think I would be underweight for sure.
Okay. And so is the weather a factor for you? So the one place where like we're expecting possible rain later in the game that could be affected is a pitcher. Like if there is a delay mid game, usually the pitcher is not going to come out. Is that something you plan on factoring in at all, or do you think that it's just you're going to take the risk with James Paxton?
Not at all.
Okay.
If you wanted to be risk averse in some kind of a way, there are a lot of other better ways to be risk averse than avoiding the guy with the best K rate on the slate in a spot where, yeah, if it's going to be later stages of the game, the guy could rack up 7, 8, 9 Ks in the first 3-4 innings. And I think that's a pretty reasonable type of range of outcomes. It's not some extreme outlier. It's something that's very live. You go up and down the K rates of a lot of these bats. Montero sitting there at a 40.5% K rate. Brenton O'Doyle rules 35%. Coco Montes just showed up, so we're not going to really factor that in as much. 32% for Ryan McMahon batting up there fourth. Ezekiel Tovar, he's not your typical two-hitter there, shortstop, not a slapper by any means. 28.6% K rate. So there are strikeouts to be had here for James Paxton.
For sure. All right. So we've got through both sides of the game. How would you rank the four sides of the game? The two pitchers, the two offenses.
How would I rank them? Well, James Paxton's number one pitcher on the board. I think that is more than reasonable. As it stands right now, I'm a tiny bit above the field in my last run. I'm doing one more big final run here. I'm playing 300 lineups today. I'm letting the Sims tool do a lot of the work for me today. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm going to pull this up. Boston would be my third highest owned stack as it stands right now. And Colorado is second to last in terms of my 5-stack priority. Just one team that's underneath it.
Okay. You're doing 300 lineups using the sim tool. Man, I found that I just can't do it when I'm on a show. Like, it's so tough for me.
It's a lot easier when you're not hosting. I'll be dead honest. You're doing my dirty work, if you will. It's really nice too, because I feel like you've calmed me down. You give me a very calm disposition, whereas Greg is there to rile me up and twist the little monkey handle, and then I bang the cymbals, the Christmas ornaments. So
no, Greg is great at making you dance. All right, we got a couple super chats here. 3 Windy 1 City 2 says, nice spoon bridge painting, Neil. Thank you very much. There are different stories of how it got done. I tell the story that my wife painted it at a paint by numbers wine and painting class. Some other people in chat have said that I did a lot of meth and painted it myself. I don't know which one is true anymore.
Meth. We're going
that's what somebody said in chat at one point, which I like. Brandon Wagner says, most exposed dollar lineup has a 4-4 Angels Rangers combo on DraftKings. Any thoughts on full stacking a single game like that? What do you think? Do you like the idea of single stacking a game?
Yeah, so something I've kind of dabbled with this year for maybe the first time. I've played MLB DFS for 7-8 years. It's routinely been I've been in the green every single season for those 8 years that I've been playing. And it's not always the one that I'm the most NBA has generally been my most profitable sport. But in terms of MLB, the thing that I've started toying with is just game environments where I think that every team is exposed to the same amount of variables. Now, the thing about Globe Life is generally that roof is closed. I was literally trying to just pull up here and see where Globe Life was as far as like what the stadium's doing today. Down there in Arlington. I don't think the roof is open from what I remembered earlier. If it were, it's 85 degrees in Arlington and it would be factored in and I could bake it in a little bit more and try to go 4-4. But Coors Field is really the only spot that I've toyed with any 4-4 stacks. Generally, it's always 5-3, 5-2, 5-1, 1-1.
Okay, so you like doing full 5-man primary stacks. And we're assuming, Oh, he says DraftKings. Okay, good. Yeah. So you'd be opposed. Yeah, I do a mix. I do some 4-4 stacks. And okay, what do you think about the from a single game aspect of it? Like, do you care about the bats being from the same game? Do you think there's some positive correlation? Like, if one team is going off, maybe makes it a little bit more likely that or if both teams are going off, makes it more likely that all the bats stay in the game late in the game. So I guess, do you think there's a little bit of positive correlation there worth factoring in?
I think it's really hard to say that I'm going to predict the script of an 8-0 baseball game where one team might be pulling hitters or one game stays close. I think we know some of the teams, whether it's San Francisco, which I think you will always have to have baked into projections, which are always baked into projections over here at Stochastic, where you have pinch hit risk that's going to exist for a lot of the lefties that show up in that lineup. For today, it would be righties on the other side where St. Louis could go around and flip them. But for the most part, it's just wanting to have exposure to a certain game environment and knowing the way a stadium might be playing and just having extra exposure, because salary is still something that might be constrained where you might go 4-4 because one team's extremely expensive and another team gives you some kind of relief. Again, I've only toyed with it at Coors Field. I have not done it at a single other ballpark. It's also a way to get a void from duplicating everybody else's 5-mans from those stadiums. So this is really the first time that I've done it in my entire career where I felt like, I think it's a positive move to try to figure it out, but other stadiums I really haven't.
Okay. All right. So I think that's a good enough answer for you, Brandon Wagner. Brandon, didn't you just take down like $20,000 the other day? I was
going to say, you're asking me questions. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we should be asking Brandon some questions. He's the one who's had the most recent big success.
That's awesome, dude. Congrats.
Yeah, that is awesome. So yeah, I totally I'm fine with full stacking 4-4. It's fine, but not like it doesn't sound like it's a huge priority for Eric. Not really for me either. Trey McHale pointed out that the painting would have been on LSD or shrooms or something. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I don't do a lot of drugs. I leave the drugs to EMAC. I mostly just stick with, THC type drugs.
What's up, gamers?
All right. So we made it through just one game. So I guess we got to pick up the pace a little bit here. But
Oh, we got time. We'll
I'll
fly.
have no problem getting through the yeah.
Yeah.
Second game on the slate, we've got the Giants at the Cardinals. Logan Webb on the mound for the Giants. Matthew Liberatore for the Cardinals. Any interest in these pitchers there?
Kind of. I don't know what to make of what happened. I'm starting to get to Liberatore, and it doesn't feel good in any way, shape, or form. I think the San Francisco side is probably the preferable side, but he's got a 13.5% top value score. He's 6,500, and obviously Logan Webb I'm getting to a ton. It seems like every slate I get to Logan Webb a ton, but I don't think that it's all that surprising to get to a guy who's 10-6 who might be a little bit underowned relative to other pitchers on a slate. Him and Zach Eflin are on their own little tier, on their own little island in terms of what ownership is, and people just are gravitating towards Paxton and Luzardo. I can't blame them considering their K rates and, Paxton's especially, but I think there's at least a case to getting to some Matthew Liberatore, 6,500. I don't really want to be playing the James Caprillion, and I know we haven't projected around 1.4% in terms of ownership. There are some places that are projecting him for a lot more, and I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm more in line with what we're doing and thinking that nobody's going to be playing him, but I think he's just atrocious. Oh, there we go. I just refreshed. He's up to 7.1% James Caprillion is. Because of that, I have to have interest at the almost identical ownership of 8.6% of Matthew Liberatore, currently overweight to him, underweight to that of James Caprillion on DK.
Yeah, I don't really want to be getting to James Caprillion either if he's getting any kind of ownership against this Rays offense. I mean, I get it's in Oakland, but
no, thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'd rather play... I know the stadium mitigates wind, but it's blowing out like 15 miles an hour. I got to think that the ball might be carrying even a little bit more than you think in Oakland. Just that's enough wind where I think it's got to get a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, so you have how many lineups think it would take you before you would get to a share of Matthew Liberatore?
I would have him in 20 max.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats that I put on the run sheet. 15.5% K rate, not great. 7.26 expected ERA, don't love that, but yeah, I guess it's just the price tag. Other things I guess going for him and the low ownership.
Yeah, the other thing about San Francisco is with this current projected lineup, it's not as good, but they have a 26.3% K rate against lefty pitching, 94 WRC plus on the season. They've been doing a lot of their work against righties, which shouldn't surprise you with Conforto, Jock Peterson back in this lineup. He's not in it today because they'll bring him out there for one of the aforementioned righties, specifically Austin Slater, I think, has a lot of pinch hit risk at the top of this lineup. Sure. He's only had 31 batted ball events this entire season. There's definitely a chance that it turns around. They bring in a righty, and you see Jock leading off in that leadoff spot against for Austin Slater. It is. You got some other volatile pieces throughout this lineup. That's just a team that you know what you're running into. I don't think it's going to make me avoid what I'm doing here with San Francisco, but you have to keep it in mind if you're playing 3 max, if you're building out one lineup, that is definitely something to be factoring in considering they're starting off with the lefty.
Okay. With that in mind, so tell me about your total level of interest in the bats in this game, Giants and or Cardinals.
We'll start with the Giants side. We'll start with the road team. I think San Francisco kind of talked about it. It's a team that I don't really want to shy away from some of these pieces that are going to have pinch hit risk, but it's something to still be factored in. I like seeing Conforto with 1% ownership. I know he's 4,500 facing a lefty here, but Liberatore isn't some good lefty by any means. I'm okay firing up a little bit of him at the really low ownership. And considering he's starting left on left, I don't think he's getting pulled in any kind of a capacity. It's pretty straightforward to me that Austin Slater, he's the guy who's pulling nearly 10% ownership. I'm going to be a little bit below that. I'm going to be getting to other pieces of the stack. The Wilmer Flores, Thairo Estrada, they're going to be far bigger priorities for me throughout. Mitch Haniger, I'm always in love with getting to. Especially because I just think that he's going to be a bat that isn't going to finish the season at $3,500. Just a 283 WOBA, 141 ISO. Those are not the kind of numbers coming off of Mitch Haniger being healthy last season in Seattle that I'm going to be expected for him going forward. So like a lot of pieces there, not really getting to the Brandon Crawford. I think he's been trashed for quite a hot second or two, but underweight to Austin Slater there in that leadoff spot. That's kind of the big note.
Okay. And did you say, do you have any interest in the cards here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to still fire up a little bit here. Logan Webb's really good. 25.4% K rate, 302 X WOBA, but this is just a a high upside offense every single time they take the field. Goldschmidt, Gorman, Arenado, Contreras, one of the best catcher options every single day. And then some cheap relief where you get to the Dylan Carlsons, the Jordan Walkers of the world. DeYoung and Edman, always wild to see them batting 8th and 9th, just the way your brain works over the last couple of years. Just always a wild thing to see on the board. And yeah, it's going to be tough for me to prioritize them or say we should be prioritizing up against Logan Webb, who can eat up some of these righties. But at the top of that lineup, you can't. Again, it's just an offense that I wish Logan Webb was more popular. And I think they would probably be a team that I would move to the top a little bit more if I was getting that leverage on Logan Webb, but I'm still going to have shares.
Okay. And then how would you rank the 4 sides of this game?
St. Louis falls middle to lower on the board for sure, but I think just getting to them for leverage sake, for high upside offense sake. I mean, they do have over a 4 implied team total here. San Francisco, they're pulling a little bit more ownership than what I would like here for them, but I still think in the middle of that lineup outside of Slater, I gotta be getting to some shares of them for sure.
All right. Sounds good. Have you ever been tackled on a golf course?
I have. Not like Adam Hadwin. This was like, messing around with your buddies in high school kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely 100% been tackled on a golf course.
Man, I was not expecting to say that you had been.
Oh yeah.
What did you think of that yesterday? Did
I was
you
in
enjoy...
South Dakota. We were throwing footballs around and stuff,
sure.
while you're waiting on tee boxes and yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So under the definition of tackled on a golf course, yes, that is correct.
What do you think of Adam Hadwin? He seems likable. Adam Hadwin and his wife both like going back and forth on Twitter. Do you have opinions
fantastic.
there?
Yeah, Bobby, she's great. And then they're good people. Adam Hadwin, what is there anything more Canada than apologizing for being tackled?
Yeah. That's Canadians and Minnesotans pretty similar, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Canadians can be a little bit. I mean, they're further north. They're tougher. Just is what it is. The hockey thing, but
yeah, that's true. And my parents actually went to Canada on their honeymoon. I don't remember where they went, but they did not think that they were treated particularly well by the Canadians wherever they went on their honeymoon. So maybe like anywhere in the world, it just depends on like the region that you're in is actually more indicative than just like the country as a whole.
Where's Nolan Kelly from? He's from Victoria, British Columbia, which I generally think is a beautiful place.
They're probably nice people. Wherever Jesse's from, I don't know if those are very nice people, but where Nolan's from,
Alberta,
they're probably good people. Is that where Jesse's from? All right. Our sponsor today is Drafters, which, as I said earlier, has head-to-head live drafts, stake drafts, season-long, and the all-new Pick'em feature, which allows you to pick overs and unders for your favorite builds, favorite players, and build them into cards up to 100x multiplier. My God.
Yeah.
I need to check this out. I've been playing Drafters best ball. I really love their best ball product. It's a little bit different than others in that there's not playoff rounds. It's just cumulative for the entire season. So like how you're doing throughout the year matters a little bit more than it does on other best ball sites. Kind of a cool way to play best ball. You should check out Drafters if you haven't already. It's 100% first deposit match bonus up to $100. Again, the best ball product, unique, unlike any other best ball product out there. And they have a fantastic deal right now. If you want to join and do this Pick'em product right now, they have a discount on Nikola Jokic's points. What do you think about 22.5 points for Nikola Jokic? Would you take the over or the under there,
Eric? Definitely over, considering the guy is just been more offensively forward, if you will, the last couple series. He's been a just joy to watch play basketball. Pretty tough postseason for the haters. If you thought Jokic shouldn't have been MVP this year, if you were in the Embiid camp, I mean, Jokic is just special. And not saying Embiid isn't, but like Jokic is just ridiculous. 22.5, way too low.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a free square like it was 0.5, but like that's still a very nice.
It's better than a taco at other places.
Yeah,
just relative to what that discount is, it's better than a taco.
Yeah, that is true. You get, what is it, like 9-point discount over the last week or something like that. So yeah, I like that. You should make that bet. Join Drafters today. The link is in the description. I would assume it's at the very least in the description of this video. It is not in chat right now, but check it out if you haven't.
Rance is like way under. Yeah, no, that would be bad. That would be.
Oh, it's
advice.
Pinned in chat. Okay, I don't give Jordan enough credit sometimes. It is pinned. The link is pinned in chat right now. Check it out if you haven't already. How do you think that game's going to go tonight, Eric?
I'm on Miami with the points, but I think Denver still closes it out.
How many points is it?
9.5, pretty much everywhere. It was 9.5 last night when I got on it, sitting at 9 now.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like a good bet. I'd probably take the points there too.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what to make of Hero. I don't think anybody does. He could play 8 minutes. He could play 18, 24. There's a pretty large range of outcomes for what we're getting. And unless we get a report about it, I think you got to kind of just say it's not a huge bump by any means. It's not like he's some defensively forward piece anyway. And
Right.
well, they kind of need to slow down Denver in some way or shape or form. And for sure, after 94 and 95 points at home, I don't have a whole lot of hope for them. So maybe Tyler Hero can add something or anything in terms of shooting here. But I mean, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin have not been their Celtic series version of themselves.
Right. That's true. I also I think I read that he's coming off the bench. If he plays at all, he's going to be coming off the bench. Like earlier in the day, Lofty and I talked about it. Like, oh, we had him projected for 28 minutes, could get into the 30s. Now I'm like, I don't know what the minutes upside is for Tyler Hero coming off the bench. Like it's
I think 24 is in the range of outcomes. If he comes out and looks good, why wouldn't you let Tyler Hero? You're down 3-1. You couldn't do anything. Again, if they hadn't scored 94 and 95 points in games 3 and 4, I'd maybe be a little less or I'd be more bearish, but
yeah.
I got to be pretty bullish on the fact that if he comes out and looks good, he might get more run, but it's going to be a very, very volatile range of outcomes there.
Yeah, really, really interesting point there. And guys, we do have NBA Live Before Lock coming up after this show before that game starts as well. So if you want a full breakdown of that game, it'll be coming up after the show. We'll get back to the baseball though. Angels at Rangers is our third game on the board here. We've got Tyler Anderson on the mound for the Angels, Dane Dunning for the Rangers. Any interest in these pitchers, Eric?
Yeah, I think you got to be getting to them for sure. Just kind of like a smattering of. Now, I like the over of the baseball game. These are two stacks that it just seems are jumping way to the top of the board for me because they are just so talented. And it doesn't seem like they're getting the kind of ownership I was expecting. Specifically, looking at the Angels side of things, they're maybe a little bit overowned, but Texas especially, I think, this could be the spot here. I know Tampa Bay is a team that we're all going to be getting to, and Boston, I'm undercutting at the moment, even with that with that stack score against Seabold. I think they're going to end up being mega chalk, just the way that we're looking at things. But I think you still, just because of how bad the pitching slate is, should be getting to some of these cheaper options, and they're just two cheaper options on the board. Dane Dunning, I think, is the obvious priority of the two. He's got a 22.1% top values percentage, 10.7% ownership, sitting pretty flat there. I think it's a better matchup going up against the Angels here with a 108 WRC plus against righties. But Texas, I mean, 118 WRC plus against righties or against righties, and then you flip them over to the left side. And oh boy, they are just smashing them this year. 130 WRC plus. So best of luck to you, Tyler Anderson. I have like a tiny smidgen bit of him, but Dane Dunning, definitely the guy I'm getting to more.
Okay, more interest in Dane Dunning here. What about the offenses? Not great pitching, obviously. How much interest here?
Yeah, how can you not like the offenses here? I mean, Taylor Ward's starting to come alive a little bit with a 43.9% hard hit percentage, 415 expected slugging. It had been a brutal start to the season for him. We're starting to see the bat wake up. And then you just have power all the way, 2 through 8, the rest of the way there. Ohtani, Trout, Rendon. I think Tice is a good catching option with a 346 xWOBA this season. Drury, Renfroe, Walsh. I mean, come on. This is a really fun offense. I wish we could get my guy Adele. Hello, it's me. I'd like to have him just stay around here after Jack in his first game back there with the Angels. Be nice to get him into the mix, but I mean, I can't complain. Even Neto went double dong yesterday, and he's got a 428 expected slugging. So this is a team that if they got after Dane Dunning, wouldn't surprise me. And same thing on the Rangers side of it. Corey Seager been out of his damn mind this season. Same with Simeon, Lau, Garcia, Young. You go up and down this entire lineup. It's a little bit frustrating to have the double catcher there, batting 6th and 7th every time you see Hyman Garver in the lineup together. But is what it is. You get Duran, Tavares, 1 through 9, both teams. So fun when you run into those kind of situations for MLB DFS.
Yeah, that is. So is this a game that you would consider game stack? I guess this is the actual game that we were talking about earlier that was brought up in the super chat from Brandon. Is this so you like both sides? Are you gonna be game stack in this one?
So probably it'll be in like a 5-3 set, sure. A sense of the word. If I'm hand building out, I doubt that I would get to anything outside of a 5-3 or a 5-2, and then maybe punt off with something else just for salary constraints if I needed to get to certain pieces of pitching. But both of these teams have some salary savers in that lineup. It's a really appealing spot. You get a leadoff Taylor Ward. He is pulling a ton of ownership, no doubt about it. But I mean, you get Tice at 2,700. You get Jared Walsh, who I don't expect him to be this bad. With a what is it? 0.061 ISO so far this season. That's not ideal, I will say. But you get half the team or half the players in this game, 6 of them on the Angels side that are sub 4K on DraftKings, and you get some of the best high upside bats that aren't pulling as much ownership as you might expect for a 7-8 game slate. So give me both offenses. Pretty clear cut. Probably not a 4-4 spot for me though.
Okay. And then how would you rank the 4 sides of this game?
I mean, both of these offenses are pretty clear cut priorities for me. I'm going to see exactly what comes through on the sim, but as I'm looking at it before, if I had to say, I'd put the Angels middle of the board, and I would put Texas probably in my top 3 stacks today.
All right. Perfect. All right. So we are 3 games into it.
Yep.
We just got a question from Ace of Spade about DK tiers, his usual question, which I should have been prepared for this one, because Ace of Spade, of course, asked us to do tiers every day. And what I do with Greg. Oh, you got
Engelman.
Oh, you're doing the so I usually do the Engelman part, but if you're just going to do it, I haven't run any lineups. I don't really even know how I would run lineups for tiers in Fantasy Retro. So we're just going to give you the Engelman portion. Do you have it pulled up?
I don't have the Engelman pulled up, but I have my own, because I knew the question was probably coming.
Oh, you did your own DK tiers.
You
prepared your DK tiers.
I did.
All right. Well, then I will pull up the Engelman, and I will. We can give 2 different answers, and hopefully, when they line up, then that it's probably the best pick here. All right. So in tier 1, who do you like here today?
Yeah, so Corey Seager would be number 1 for me, but I'm pretty okay with any option here. If you, for ownership purposes, believed, you're looking. Also, I have to say this too. So one of the things about tiers is sometimes you can just stack up a specific team. And I think that there's something to be said about going Seager and then to Simeon or Adolis Garcia. I think I'm more inclined to do that than I am to go Seager, Bobby Witt, Paul Goldschmidt, something of that nature. Now they are the higher projected, but I think just having some correlation throughout your tiers, never the worst thing to be doing.
Yeah, and I see that when I look at Josh's, and I think that's probably like when it sims out, like it naturally factors in that correlation somewhat. So Josh has Rafael Devers. He's going to have a few Red Sox that look good at the top of his tiers, but that's a good call. Corey
makes
Seager,
sense. They have the highest top stack score, and it looks like a good game environment to be getting to. There's no qualms that I have about getting to Red Sox bats. You have the wind blowing out to left, over the green monster right now, right around 15 miles per hour out there too. So it's a great hitting environment. And Boston, I mean, I just expect that they're going to be crazy popular. I think that's my only concern. Yeah.
And that's something like, since we don't have projected ownership for tiers, it's a little bit harder, but I think that's probably like, if a team is chalky in the DFS slate, probably going to be chalky in tiers as well. So I think that's a good note there. That's something to be factored in. Who do you like in tier 2?
Let me pull it back up. I just updated for the Philly lineup. Okay. For tier 2, I like, the aforementioned Simeon and Garcia. I would slightly prefer Simeon because, if I'm going to be going Seager.
Okay. And Josh has Yoshida as number 2. So he's got Devers, Yoshida, two Red Sox to start. So both going with some correlation there. Who do you like in tier 3?
Is that available? That's got to be in the night. Sorry, is he available? He's not in the lineup, right? Am I looking at this correctly?
You're talking about Yoshida?
No, I'm saying that he's not in tier 2. He's not currently available in Cruncher.
Maybe he's not in the lineup. That is the thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at Josh's stuff from this morning.
Yeah, so Yoshida was never in the lineup. So I was going to say so this morning's stuff is going to project out a little bit differently. He didn't end up making the lineup. So there's only 4 players available in tier 2.
Yep. Good call. Yep. So it's not going to be Yoshida.
Yep.
Then next
Yoshida's out. Yoshida's out. He's not.
Yep.
He's out.
Yep.
All right. I just was saying I didn't think he was. So wanted to amend that. You're going to tier 3. It's definitely Verdugo.
Okay.
That's probably the one I'm the most confident in so far.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Chat calling out that Yoshida is out. Yeah, that's a good call. I forget that Josh does this in the morning. So number 2 in Josh's list would be Marcus Semien. And of course, given that there is correlation here, my guess is that his sims also have some correlation factored in. So who knows if somebody else would have been pulled to the top in tier 1 without Yoshida, who knows? But yeah, Marcus Semien, he has number 2 on the list. Sorry, who do you say you like for tier 3?
Oh, Verdugo by a mile.
Okay,
I have him higher projected than the next person by 3. I have him over. Oh, no, Adam Duvall is 2.5 away. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, Josh has Duvall a couple fantasy points behind as well. Yep. So Alex Verdugo, number in tier 3 for both. How about tier 4?
Tier 4, Nate Lau.
Same for Josh. How about tier 5?
Tier 5 is, this is fun. I like Matt McClain and De La Cruz the exact amount, 10.5. So there you go.
Those are also Josh's top 2. He has Ellie De La Cruz a little bit ahead of Matt McClain. And then tier 6.
And tier 6, this is a fun one, but Mitch Garver.
All right, Josh has Jurix and Profar in tier 6. So there you have it. Ace of Spade, two different types of sims doing tiers for you. All right, we should move on to the next game on the slate, which is Reds at Royals. Luke Weaver on the mound for the Reds, Zach Greinke for the Royals. Any interest in these pitchers, Eric?
Which game are we talking about? Sorry.
The Reds at the Royals. Luke Weaver or Zach Greinke?
This is where I'd have to draw the line a little bit. Okay. This is some wild stuff that's going on here with Zach Greinke, 8.4% ownership against Cincinnati. Give me the Cincinnati side of it for sure. And the Luke Weaver thing, I get it. It's Kansas City. I get it. But 18.3 I just can't do this kind of ownership on Luke Weaver. Sure. One of the nice things about going to the Sims is you can do a little bit of boosting on your own. That's kind of a nice feature that we have where it's not necessarily boosting, but you're changing some of the expected ROI numbers on specific pitchers. And I go through everything with Luke Weaver this season, 44.9% hard hit percentage, 464 expected slugging, 22.3% K rate. I don't see how that is something that should be pulling as much ownership as, Dane Dunning for 1,400 less, and Dane Dunning somehow being less expensive by 1,400. I know it's a far more difficult matchup going up against the Angels, but it just feels wrong to me. 1,100 there for Matthew Liberatore. I know the strikeout rates are down on both of them, and Luke Weaver sitting at 22.3%. But aside from that, I mean, there are some actual bats at the top of this offense, and another hitter that I just kind of expect positive regression for, MJ Melendez. I'm in love, apparently, with Edward Olivares today, which riddle me that, Batman, but getting to a ton of him as a one-off and in like 2-man stacks of the Kansas City side. So, yeah, I really don't see it with these pitchers today.
All right, not interested in Zach Greinke or Luke Weaver. Steve Miner did say your weekly reminder that Greinke has a 2.27 ERA at Kauffman over the last 2 years. He also has, and I can't tell if this is a joke or a typo. He says he also has an 11.5 K per 19. I don't know if that's supposed to be K per 9 or if that was a joke that he doesn't have a great strikeout rate. I would assume it's just a typo though. But yeah, those are impressive numbers for a guy in like his 20th season or something. All right, what is your level of interest in bats in this game?
Yeah, so I'm getting to more Kansas City than what I was expecting. That's for sure. Not that they're some outward crazy priority for me on this slate, but kind of it would seem based on what I'm looking at here. Luke Weaver's the one pulling the ownership. I want to be getting positive leverage there. I just think it's a team that because of the leverage you're getting off of a more popular than expected Luke Weaver, that you should be firing it up. And then on the Cincinnati side, we talked about it, that top of the lineup is completely different. The entire complexion changes with Matt McClain, 43.6% hard hit percentage, and the number one in terms of ESPN prospect list, number 4 for MLB Pipeline, Ellie De La Cruz. They are just both going to be so good. Jonathan India has been raking there too. So 2 through 4, really nice target spot. And I think it's easy to kind of round out your stacks, whether it's Friedel sitting up there at the leadoff spot, which, is what it is. He's got just a 23.6% hard hit percentage. He's not good, but he's lead off in front of some absolute bats there. Tyler Stevenson, always one of the more appealing catching options on any slate that you run into. Will Benson just showing up in lineups for me as a result. So I think this is a both sideser in terms of offense.
All right. And how would you rank the 4 sides of this game?
Kansas City higher purely for leverage purposes, and then Cincinnati middle of the road.
And then the pitchers after. Do you care?
Oh,
about
way after. I have virtually neither. Neither. I have virtually zero of these off. Two pitchers.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we've made it through 4 of the 7 games. Perfect time to take a look at our lineup generator. Jordan, if you would be so kind as to pull that up. I told him, I asked him if he was going to be able, and he told me that he's always ready to pull up lineup generator. I know we can count on Jordan. He told me to stop underestimating him, so I'm going to stop underestimating Jordan. Can we go to the DraftKings main contest? And guys, you can get lineup generator for 50% off your first week. So it's going to be just $4.48 for your first week. If you haven't checked it out yet, every lineup you get here is going to be a plus EV lineup. Let's do all stack types, Jordan. Eric, I don't know if you heard, but we had somebody just take down $15,000 like 3 days ago with a lineup generator lineup. I asked him what types of lineups he was doing. He was just doing all lineups, getting kind of a range of lineups by doing all lineup types. So if you would do that, Jordan, let's check that out. And then we'll skip locking any pitchers, see what we get here. And then, every lineup we get here. So we did all lineup tests. We're going to get some chalky ones. We're going to get some contrarian ones. We're going to get balanced lineups. But again, you can get this for $4.48 for your first week if you use the link in the description of this video. It's going to be just $9 after that. So a fantastic deal.
Red Sox
to get these all these beautiful lineups. I'm going to be using this to make my lineups today. I'm only playing a 20 max, and I'm definitely going to be pulling those 20 from lineup generator. So looking forward to that. But again, check it out if you haven't already. We're going to move on because we do have 3 more games to get through and not a ton of time. So I'll move on to the next game. Thank you, Jordan, for going through that. Next game on the slate, we've got Rays at Athletics. We got Zach Eflin on the mound for the Rays, James Caprillion for the A's. Any interest in these pitchers there?
I mean, James Caprillion, it was wild to me to see him getting as much ownership. And it's like, well, who are the targets? And somebody keeps spamming my favorite GP to be getting to in the chat here right now. He's good people, so I won't get mad about it. But there are just so many other places to find some leverage in the pitching department. And I don't see how anybody looks at James Caprillion as anything other than a completely walking piece of garbage. Like he's so bad. A 363 xWOBA, 450 expected slugging, 13% walk rate, 18.6% K rate. Four-seamer is not fast by any means in any way, shape, or form. He's a walking beanbag chair with the best offense in baseball coming into Oakland. Winds blowing out. I know that, again, the stadium mitigates some of those effects, but I don't see why I would take shots on him with his 7.21 ERA, 5.58 expected ERA, rather than every other pitcher in the range, other than, again, Greinke, Weaver. Those are really the 3 pitchers I'm the most vehemently against on this slate.
Okay. So no interest in Caprillion. Did you say, do you have any interest in Zach Eflin? Obviously a nice matchup with the A's.
Yeah, I definitely do. And he's expensive. And this is kind of where I'm surprised because we have a lot of uncertainty. And I know you win. It's something Alex Baker's always said back in the day when I was doing shows with him. He's always said, well, you're going to win tournaments with your bats. And there's just times you want to be taking shots on some of the weaker pitchers. And well, Zach Eflin is not weak relative to this entire slate and just this entire season. He's been kind of a standout. Everybody's been a standout for Tampa Bay, but Eflin with a 266 xWOBA, 25.7% K rate, getting to face just an atrocious offense. And the offense that strikes out the 3rd most in baseball against right-handed pitching, 25.4%, just an 89 WRC plus. I do get a little bit worried about Oakland from time to time against lefties. I think that there's also, when you get out of their home ballpark, they can be more intriguing, but there's no way that Eflin isn't a decent grab. It's just simply a cost issue, if anything.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense. Malakar took down 3 days in a row, took down a FanDuel contest. That's pretty awesome. Nice job, Malakar. All right.
Dude.
What is your level of interest in these bats in Oakland? Obviously not the place you want to be hitting, but Tampa still has a pretty nice run total. What's your interest here?
Just Tampa's awesome. And I expect that I'm going to kind of know exactly. This is like, it's really hard to late swap, but the first game right out of the bat, Colorado, Boston, we're going to have an idea of how much people are playing Tampa Bay instantly. And I expect Boston to be very, very popular. And I don't think this gets talked about enough when it comes to MLB DFS. There's a definite late swap advantage on this slate if Boston ends up as popular as what we're projecting and what we're expecting. And you can kind of react to your lineups, what's going on with a lot of information. You get 2.5 hours of information, and you have 3 games starting at the identical time at 9:40 p.m. So nearly half of the slate is happening way after the chalkiest offense plays. You're going to be able to craft your lineups to be exactly what you want them to be relative to how they're doing. And Tampa Bay has to be your main target if Boston fails. If Boston ends up failing, I'm going to turn a lot more of my lineups that might be Miami, Seattle, just to try to get leverage, or for specifically Philly and Arizona, which is probably the game du jour. If you're getting away from Tampa Bay in the late slate or something, that entire game looks pretty appealing based on the pitchers there. But Tampa Bay, I'm going to get to more of them if Boston fails. And then I'm going to get to less of them, Tampa Bay bats, if Boston succeeds.
Okay. And I saw somebody in chat was Strike Loot says, I like Oakland to get Eflin tonight. Guy isn't that good and he's due for a poor outing. Oakland has won 5 in a row. Maybe they hit it home. Do you have any interest in Oakland here?
No, not really. This is the offense that I was alluding to. I have virtually 0 of them.
Okay. And how would you rank the 4 sides of this game?
Oakland dead last for me in terms of stacks that I would be getting to on today's slate.
Okay.
And actually, Colorado is now lower. So I had Colorado second to last. It's actually Oakland second to last now. So good talk. Glad we had it. I'm going to them second to last. And then I'm going to say Tampa Bay is number 1 for me.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
Again, that's an eyeball situation. And again, that can definitely change, but it's going to be based on how Boston does, which I'm underweight to right now.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. 2 games left to get through here, starting with the Phillies at the Diamondbacks. Matthew Strahm on the mound for the Phillies. Tommy Henry for the D-backs. What's your level of interest in these pitchers, Eric?
Which one do you think I have the most interest in? Because one is a bullpen arm.
I'm guessing Matthew Strahm is the more interesting pitcher for you based on the strikeout rate.
I'm not going to be getting to any Matthew Strahm. 0.
Oh, okay. He has. I just look at the strikeout rate of 32.5%.
Yeah.
What kind of?
I expect him to go in inning. I have
just
him
one
going
inning?
one
Okay.
inning. Yeah.
All right.
So it's definitely only Tommy Henry, and he's the pitcher that I am boosting in Sims to be getting more of going up against Philadelphia here.
Okay.
The pitching is so bad on this slate. It's quite atrocious, but he's 6,200. He's sitting right there next to Dane Dunning. I do prioritize Dane Dunning a little bit more, but I think Tommy Henry, he's not good. He's pretty awful, in fact, but at least he's left-handed. At least there's a path where I could see him being decent here with a 32.6% hard hit percentage. The 14.3% K rate doesn't add a whole lot of upside, in my opinion, but getting 6 innings or 5 2/3 innings from somebody can be enough on a slate like this. Gives you a little bit different roster construction, and you could be running into Liberatore getting shelled. You could be running into Dane Dunning getting shelled. And, it's not that anybody's gaining any kind of popularity down here. It's basically everybody paying up for pitching at 7,500, starting with Luke Weaver and above it. That's where almost everybody's going, and I don't completely disagree with that. But if I'm going down here and taking shots, I don't see that big of a difference between Liberatore, Henry, Dunning, Seabold, Caprillion, and a couple of them are pulling ownership and some aren't. So give me some of the guys who aren't like Tommy Henry.
Okay. I got to say, I'm a little bit relieved to learn that Matthew Strahm is a bullpen arm, because when I was doing the run sheet and I saw that 32.5% strikeout rate, I was like, how the hell did I not know this guy was that good? That explains it. That he's
so Dylan Covey's going to be coming in, but he's also a pitcher. He was lengthened out at the beginning of May. I just don't think that they're going to utilize him in that capacity anymore. The most recent outing was 2 days ago or 3 days ago, but they've got Covey as kind of the piggyback guy in this situation. This is going to be like a straight up true bullpen game. Okay. I think that's what downgrades Arizona to a certain extent, because you run into a little bit of pitch hit risk for the likes of a Pavman Smith. Jake McCarthy for sure down in the 9 hole is somebody that could be pinch hit for. Rivera, doubtful, but somebody that at least there's a chance where it happens. I like seeing Longoria in that lineup so that, there's at least a chance for him to stick around, whereas him being the guy who could come in and pitch hit for guys. But you don't have Gurriel starting in this lineup. I would expect him to come in at some point for a McCarthy or something of that nature. You have Rojas. You have Moreno, who ended up not getting the catcher spot, even though he was somebody that I was going to get to a ton. We have Carson Kelly making his debut. And from what people remember, Carson Kelly can go out and hit a baseball. That's for sure. He just came off of the 60-day IL. He's 2,700. He's the hitter I'm getting to the most in this lineup, but I'm really not getting to Arizona all that much. But that can definitely change based on Boston.
Okay. Did you say if you have interest in the Phillies here, bats?
Phillies bats, not at the moment, no.
Okay. And how would you rank the four sides of this game?
Middle of the road on Phillies offense. Arizona a little bit below, even though the 5 implied total, I keep kind of going back and forth with myself a little bit. You can always get to Corbin Carroll. The dude's just stud. He's really, really good at baseball. If you gave him a boost, or if you had some chalky offenses that you wanted to find a path of deviation, it seems as though, he might be a guy who ends up more popular on some of these slates. Today, he will not be all that popular, and I'm pretty convinced of that. Even though he has upside in every department of baseball, he's sub 10%. I think he would be a guy to try to get to a little bit more in some of those other chalkier builds.
Okay, so your ranking would be, what are the four sides?
Arizona a little bit below half, just because I find pinch hit risk to be another thing that's going to exist there to some capacity. And then Philadelphia, they're just popular, more popular than what I would want to be getting to here on this slate. So I think that there's a path for them? Yes. But in terms of leverage, they're up there with Boston as the most negatively leveraged on the slate in the top stacks tool.
Okay. All right. We will move on. We only have one game left to get through. We did get a super chat asking DFS Dope Strategies asks, who's the top 3 chalkiest offenses here? That would be the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Rangers, the 3 chalkiest offenses currently in terms. Maybe I should refresh and make sure that that's still true. But last I checked, those were the that is okay. Those are our 3 chalkiest offenses here. So thank you for the super chat. All right, we only have one final game to get through here, Eric. We were timing this pretty well. Marlins at Mariners.
I will say Philadelphia I just refreshed it again. Philadelphia does have positive leverage attached to them now. More people are on Tampa Bay. Again, if Boston smashes, I'm in a lot of trouble, it would seem. Even though they are the highest stack score and have they're now sitting behind Tampa Bay in terms of top stack percentage. I'm going to get to a ton of Tampa Bay, I think, no matter what. But Philadelphia might be a team that I slide in a little bit more in the old late swap processes. I'm kind of like screwing around with stuff and updating for new information.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I think that I didn't describe the ranking to you well enough. So William Carson, because when I did this with Greg, he didn't really know what I meant by ranking it. I think that you're giving me the ranking within the entire slate for all 4 sides of the game. What I mean when I ask you to rank the 4 sides, which I should have clarified this, I guess I haven't been listening closely enough, is just within those 4 pieces of the game. So not within the whole slate.
Shit.
So it's much easier. What I'm asking you is way easier than what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Tommy Henry's the only pitcher I have any interest in, because I don't know who the hell else you would play from Philadelphia. I don't have a single share of a Philadelphia arm today. And then, I'm going to go the Philadelphia side is probably just based on what we're looking at in the top stacks tool. Yeah. They're going to be more appealing. And again, Arizona, you could see some pinch hit risk throughout. So I will go 1 being Philadelphia offense, 1B. I guess I'm just making up my own rankings now. 2 would definitely be going towards the Tommy Henry side. And then Arizona offense, 3, distant, impossible 4th, anything from Philadelphia throwing a baseball.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's on me. I wasn't listening closely enough to realize what the misunderstanding was there. All right, final game of the slate. We have the Marlins at the Mariners. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Marlins. Bryce Miller for the Mariners. Eric, what's your level of interest in these pitchers?
Hi, Jesus Luzardo. I just got everything done here on my side. Now I can take a look exactly at what I have, what I'm going to be uploading. So that'll be fun. Exposures, here we go. So I have currently 35.3% Jesus Luzardo over 300 lineups. His projected ownership's pretty much exactly that, 35.5%. I kind of expected to be flat on both of the pitchers, like the very popular pitchers being Paxton and Luzardo. And that seems to be exactly what is showing up here in the pre-contest simulator for me after I kind of got everything updated. It is exactly where I would want to be if I were even hand building this as well. I think they are pretty pronounced, the two pitching options that make the most sense on this slate. I think Miller would be pulling a lot more ownership had he not gotten completely shelled in his previous couple outings. But because that happened, I think he's getting a little bit slept on today. I'm about it, the field on him there too. But Jesus Luzardo, 28.2% K rate, 297 x Woba, and the two pitchers above him being Logan Webb and Zach Eflin, they're far more expensive. They have lower K rates, and I would say the matchup is about the same. So all things being considered, Jesus Luzardo is undervalued relative to this slate. I am very happy to be putting him in a third of lineups.
Okay, perfect. And then what is your level of interest in these offenses?
So offensively, I mean, Miami brings some absolute pop to the table. I mean, this has been a quietly one of the better teams over the last month in baseball here, with Araz batting nearly 400, Jorge Soler 572 expected slugging, 387 x Woba, Brian De La Cruz, Garrett Cooper. I hate the back half of this lineup. I know we can get some stolen base upside from the likes of a John Birdie and a Jonathan Davis there batting ninth, but it's really hard to go out and pull the trigger in some kind of a meaningful way. However, again, they're just pieces that I'm letting it run. And as I'm looking at everything in the post-contest simulator, I am getting to the other De La Cruz that exists on today's slate quite a bit. So Brian De La Cruz showing up as a one-off here, as well as Garrett Cooper and Jorge Soler. So Miami, they're kind of mixed and matched, but a lot more of like two-mans and just one-offs than anything else.
All right, so you like your De La Cruzes today, looking good.
Yeah, the De La Cruz eye, if you will.
The De La Cruz eye, exactly right. All right, so then how would you rank the four sides of this game?
I'm going to go Luzardo 1. And it's ironic because I think the numbers are kind of leaning me towards Seattle in a betting capacity here. I will go Seattle 1. Luzardo 1, Seattle's offense 2, Miami's offense 3, Bryce Miller 4. But Bryce Miller, this is a guy that earlier in the season ended up being chalk on quite a few slates. Now you're seeing him sub 10%. From a pure leverage perspective, he's a top 5 pitcher in terms of top 2 percentage in the top pitchers tool. If you started to make a stand with somebody who is 10K that nobody's going to get to, like, it wouldn't surprise me to see Bryce Miller 4% at the flip. Like, I would not be surprised at all on this slate. I think that alone against a Miami offense that has been potent, but will still have strikeouts in it, especially in the back half of that lineup, definitely something that's in play for me.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, we have made it through every game on the slate. So one thing that Adam and I like to do, I get to the end of the slate, I ask Adam for his 3 favorite stacks on the slate. Do you have 3 favorite stacks you can give me, Eric?
Yep, I'm just looking at stack ROI here and what I ended up with. Perfect. And let me finish it up here. So number 1 for me is definitely Tampa Bay at the moment. Number 2 is the Red Sox, but I'm going to give it a little thumb down here. I'm going to finish this up nicely. And then number 3 is currently Kansas City. That's fun.
All right. Do you have 3 favorite pitchers on this slate?
Luzardo, Paxton, and then for tournaments, just getting away from some of the mucky muck at the bottom, Tommy Henry.
Okay. Perfect. And then
calling him favorite, though, would be disingenuous. He's somebody I can tolerate who's not pulling ownership.
Okay. I mean, asking for 3 favorites is, it's sometimes hard to find 3 favorites. And then one final thing that we like to do here, Eric, is a home run pick. Our only rule that we've been playing by is nobody in Coors. We don't have Coors on this slate, so it's not a concern. So just tell me your favorite home run pick for this slate.
So just straight up, somebody I think is going to go yard.
And if you want to cheat, the top batters tool is how I cheat for finding my favorite home run pick, because it actually ranks out the home run odds for every batter.
Well, yeah, I mean, from a home run perspective, I mean, Jorge Soler, why not?
Jorge Soler, we have with a 24.46% chance of it hitting a home run. That's not bad. I I just go all the way up to Mike Trout. I don't know. I think Mike Trout is who I gave on the morning show, so I'll stick with it. It's not cheating. Our only rule is no core, so I just go to the top of the board. It's kind of cheating. I sort of feel like I'm cheating that I just go for the top bat every day. But 31.43% chance of hitting a home run today for Mike Trout. I don't mind doing that one bit. It's been a lot of fun, Eric, doing a baseball show with you. I'm looking forward to doing some more of these throughout the rest of the season. Tell everybody, where they can find you. Do you have any parting words for people?
Yeah, my friends, go over to the Odd Chopper channel. I'm doing Lindy's Lean Sites and Locks MLB every single Monday through Friday, talking through my favorite bets, working on a couple of different things in the premium Discord where you can find me down there, putting my bet slips in every single day and then throwing those out there for the people. Otherwise, yeah, just going to be grinding a lot of MLB, and then PGA content is going to be off the chain this week with the U.S. Open. I've got a bunch of odds, bunch of stuff going on for that tomorrow. We've got a DK Rainmaker show tomorrow morning with Ben Raza. Yeah, I got Ben on that one for tomorrow. Going to be really fun to do that. Coming off of, I ended up winning the elite contest for UFC.
I saw that
on Saturday,
that was
which was
awesome.
awfully fun, and so. Nice to come off of a score where it's like, hey, maybe I know how to buy and sell and trade these cards correctly to a certain extent. So it's a really fun format and something that I've really kind of started to really enjoy. And I guess winning helps enjoy it a little bit more. So come check that out if you guys are around.
Is that money going right back into DFS, Eric? You just told me you're playing 300 lineups tonight.
I am playing 300 today. Yeah, it's going to be, we'll see. We'll see how it goes tonight. I don't want to say that this is going to be a normal thing for me going forward, but definitely going to be. I after a big score, I'm kind of more of the let's tone it down, like we're in a good place kind of situation, above pace. For me, there's always like a level. I have kind of a goal in mind for the year one I want to have, as I get closer to it, I kind of try to trim down on exposure. But it's going pretty hard the last couple of weeks. Nice to be at a spot where I can kind of coast a little bit, but taking some shots today.
It's also fun that we have the lineup generator that you can use right now too. So it's we're all excited to use it. Maybe play a little bit more.
The Sims tool is just insane. So
it's such a fun tool.
It's so fun. So 8 minutes until lock. Pretty much all set with everything I'm looking at here, but definitely give that a
until lock. Is it not 3 minutes? I think. Anyway, yeah. Check out the Sims tool if you haven't already. I think it is, but I could be wrong about that.
Starts in 8 minutes.
Okay, good.
Minutes
all right. So you got some time to get your lineups in. All right, that's good. That's good to hear. I already made my lineups during the show, so I'm all set too. All right. Thank you guys very much for watching, and of course we do have NBA Live Before Lock coming up. Possibly the last NBA Live Before Lock of the entire year, possibly the last NBA show of the entire year, coming up in 27 minutes. That's going to be Lofty and Adam breaking it down for tonight's game. So check that out if you're planning on playing some NBA tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and good luck tonight.